Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 9 of GT Masters, the review series for Gran Turismo's selection of GT class racing cars. And one of the good things about the GT class, and one of the reasons why it's one of the most popular classes, is the variation. In classes such as Formula classes like Formula 1, or even to some extent in the LMP, especially the modern LMPs, cars are becoming more and more the same. It's basically lots of different versions of the same car with different team logos on them. Now I know there's more to it than that, but that's the way motorsport is heading. Whereas in the GT class, although there are of course still restrictions, the cars at the very least do still offer major differences to each other. They're different sizes, they're different proportions, they're aerodynamically different. Some are quite clearly superior to others, and in some cases it's led to certain vehicles being banned because they were just too good. Cars such as one of my personal favourite supercars, the Mosler, which was one of the quickest GT class race cars ever made. This vehicle is truly different. This is the Gillet Vertigo. It's an incredible looking machine, somewhat like a kind of Batman's weekend race car kind of look to it, and there are some vehicles which have that kind of Batmobile look to it, the Panos Esperante, the Gillet Vertigo, vehicles like that. And this car has been on Gran Turismo now for a fair while. It was first introduced on GT3, but it was a slightly different version, it was red. And then from Gran Turismo 4 onward, it became this slightly different yellow version, and it also became a little bit impeded. On Gran Turismo 3, it was one of the best cars in the game. On Gran Turismo 4, not so much. Gran Turismo 5 and 6, this has become one of those cars which people have ended up being almost disappointed after buying, rather than it living up to how iconic it was from the older days of Gran Turismo, or at least the slightly older days. Now that said, is this car worth buying anymore? Because it used to be amazing, and it seems to have kind of trailed off. But does that mean it's a bad car? And is it worth considering instead of, or at the very least as well as buying, alongside other GT class machines? Well, in terms of sheer spec, the Gillet Vertigo is quite simply a monster. It's an incredible machine. It's powered by a 3.8 litre engine, which puts out one of the highest power outputs of the GT class, 993 horsepower. Now there are some more powerful models than that, but that is up there with the best of them as far as GT cars go. It also puts out 610 foot-pounds of torque. But that's not even the best thing about the Gillet Vertigo. The best thing about this car is its weight. The Gillet Vertigo is ultra lightweight. It is lighter than almost all of the Le Mans prototypes. In fact, there's pretty much only one prototype which is lighter, and that's the Peugeot 905. Apart from that, this car is almost a prototype in GT clothing. It weighs in at an almost unbelievable 780 kilos. Now the specs of the car on the game are not accurate to real life, so technically it doesn't weigh that much. But on the game, that ultra low weight combined with its very high power output means that this car produces one of the highest, if not the highest, power to weight ratios of any GT class race car. 1,273 horsepower per tonne. That means that this car is literally on par with a number of, and in some cases even higher than some official Le Mans prototypes and Group C machines for power to weight ratio. But it's in the GT class. So on paper at least, this car is a monster. And to make it even better, the PP isn't that high. It's 677, which is reasonably high for a GT class machine in general, but given this car's spec, especially that power to weight ratio, that's not that high at all. Now in terms of straight line performance, to be completely honest, it's not the best of cars. Back on Gran Turismo 3, you used to be able to make this car do crazy speeds. In fact, it was one of the quickest cars in the game, because it was very easy to make this car do a high-speed wheelie, wherein it would go over 1,000 kilometers per hour. That doesn't happen anymore, kind of unfortunately, but it doesn't happen. Now, the top speed is around 250, so they've really neutered what the car's capable of, given its spec, and that's a shame. But you can find consolation in the fact that most GTs tend to be around that kind of speed, so you're not at a disadvantage, and it still has phenomenal acceleration thanks to its power-to-weight ratio. As far as price, it's really well priced. 1,450,000 credits. That is brilliant value for a car with such a high spec. In terms of handling, as long as you give it a differential torque setting of at least 20 or more, it has amazing handling. Overall, if you're looking for a GT class machine, especially an underappreciated one, this car will serve you phenomenally well. So if you haven't tried out the Vertigo yet, I would strongly urge you to do so. But that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.